detail from the comic book to the TV show.
It feels like you have a superpower or something. You just draw something and then
it appears in real life. Yeah.
TV.
Who has not seen the most recent episode? Because if you have not, you haven't seen
spoiled.
Well, you can't surprise me with spoilers. They're all in the comics, so
who here hasn't? So like you three people, we're going to spoil you a little bit. So I'm sorry, because we're going to talk a bit about last week's episode. But this last week's episode, so many scenes were pulled straight from the comic book, especially, of course, the scene where Jesse dies and Carl gets his eye shot out, and then of course the final moments where Alexandria is coming together. I mean, Nicotero literally took still after still after still. I mean, it's. I was talking to him earlier. It's amazing how well he did it. But we're gonna put up one of these images, the Carl image, up on the screen, and we'll see it right here, hopefully. So I'm going to talk about it. Oh, that one.
Right.
All right. Sorry, Carl got his eye shot.
Ouch, that's
all three of you.
Gotta hurt.
But of course, have you seen the scene yet at all? Oh my gosh. Well, I mean, it's that moment right there is captured perfectly.
Oh, okay.
It's done so well. Of course, Carl's whole part of his face isn't completely gone on this side, but they like angled through his eyes. But the moment where he says "Dad," but talk about this one, because this is such an iconic image from the comic books, and then to finally get to this point, talk about when you were making the decision of how Carl got shot and how you were going to draw him, because it really influences the character from that point on for the rest of the comic books.
Well, my first question to Robert when he said, "This is what we're going to do," I just said, "Well, hang on, is this survivable?" Because not only are we, in the zombie apocalypse, they're not exactly, the great medical facilities that we have today. So, and Robert said he went through tons and tons of sort of reference of eye wounds, etc., until he got really depressed. And he said he hadn't the heart to send me anything because it was just too grim. So that image down there was pretty much just out of my imagination in the end, because I had no reference to base it on, and I started looking for facial traumas, eye wounds, whatever, and surprisingly there's not that much of it unless I was going into the dark web or whatever. So it was mostly all based on guesswork, as it is.
You haven't had any first-hand experience.
I didn't blow my own eye out just to go with it. But afterwards, Robert did send me one picture, a really disturbing picture of this poor boy that had half his face blown away from a landmine accident. And I've still got the picture, but it is kind of buried under a lot of other ref, and I don't really like to get it out because it is pretty gruesome. But it's proof that sort of injury is actually survivable.
So when you kind of challenged him a bit on this and saying, can you survive this? Talk about a bit the relationship between you and Robert. When he does send you pieces, do you challenge him quite often? Like, can we do this, or will this work?